My name is Chloe. We are set to begin a very mindful practice of yoga. What is in store for us? Okay, so we're going to have some chest opening maneuvers, some focus on that contraction and expansion. We're going to focus on hip opening, and we're going to make this a gentle practice. We're going to go into everything thoughtfully, open-mindedly, and we're just going to move our bodies because it's hard to find the motivation to move our bodies right now. Things are really weird. It's hard to commit an hour to yoga. So bless you for any time you put toward this video. We're going to begin on our backs today. Oh, hey. And if you tend to get a little bit fatigued in the knees with tabletop, you might want to go grab a blanket for this practice, just to put under your knees. And whenever I cue tabletop, you might want to put that blanket, a little bit of cushion underneath. So, pause the video, go run and grab some little cushion for the push-in. And we're just going to begin on our backs. Our legs stretched out in front of us. Our shoulders resting on the floor, our palms lying on either side of us. It's here in this pose that I like to find my sense of urgency and meaning to this practice ahead. Because it's hard to focus enough, to really be present and interested in what's about to occur. So we're just lying here. We're not thinking anything. We're just feeling right now. We're looking up at the ceiling and we're noticing where our body is at. Where do you feel some tingling sensations? Where do you feel tension? We're going to begin to, on a deep, deep inhale, just twinkle our fingers and toes a little bit. So let everything out for a moment, preparing. And on an inhale, expanding the chest, just begin to stretch those fingers and toes out, pointing the toes, flexing the hands, fingers away from each other. Exhale, letting it all out. On an inhale, start rolling your ankles, start rolling your wrists, pausing at the top of that inhale. On the exhale, continue to delight and just opening up your limbs. Pausing at the bottom of the exhale. Inhale. Begin to stretch your limbs up, pointing your toes in the opposite direction of your fingers. We're going to take one beautiful inhale here, shooting into opposite directions. And on the exhale, we're going to bend our legs, squeezing our shins in, balling up into a little human sphere here. Letting go of all of our air and pausing for a moment, rocking from side to side, closing our eyes, finding our center, our stillness right here in the present moment with ourselves. We're going to hug that right knee in and watch our left leg extend out and stretch all the way back down, heel gracefully resting on the floor. Inhale. Just hug that right leg in, just noticing and stretching the top of that left leg. Inhale, knee to your nose, squeezing yourself together. And exhale, melting your shoulders, your back to the ground. We're letting it all out. Inhale, straighten that leg gradually. We're not focusing on as much of a hamstring stretch. We're just opening up, waking up the legs, stretching it open, letting it be easy and gentle. We're looking at our toes, stretching them apart. Breathing into this pose. And on an exhale, bend that leg, hug it back in, and let it all go for a moment. Inhale, hug that shin in. And on the exhale, we're twisting that right knee over our left side, resting the knee on the floor. We're gonna arc our right arm over, stretching out into a gentle spinal twist. Looking over our right shoulder. Breathing into this twist, still noticing our left leg, stretching it out in front of us. Here, if you would like a little bit more engagement, you can play around with stretching your right leg totally straight, noticing how that factors into this more of a whole body twist happening. We're just breathing into that right palm, sending it into the earth, allowing it to push us into this twist a little bit more. Inhale your intention into this pose, and exhale back to center. Keep it gentle. Let your hands fall at your sides. We're bringing both knees in. We're hugging them together. Ooh, you know what? We're gonna stretch that left leg out. I almost forgot. We're gonna play around with opening up our hips here, moving that right knee over to our right armpit, rather just resting it here, coming into a half happy baby. If you want to go into happy baby, I recommend kind of moving your shoulders off the ground first, grabbing your foot first, and then settling into whatever version of happy baby feels really good right now. We're just keeping it gentle. It's the beginning of our practice. We're rocking left and right, or we're moving the knee, or we're just opening that hip up a little bit more. Inhale that right leg up, stretching it one more time. And exhale, watch it fall very gracefully all the way down to the floor. And then inhale, hugging your left knee in. We're gonna bring that knee to our nose, hugging the shin in. Contracting into this pose, stretching the right leg straight, pointing the toes, flexing the toes. Breathing into this nice little bend here. Gonna exhale our shoulders, our neck back to the floor, relax that tension. We're gonna inhale that left leg up, stretching it up, straightening it. Pointing the toe, flexing the toes, rolling the ankle. Just letting that leg wake up a little bit. On an inhale, on an exhale, we're gonna hug that shin in. Bringing it to our nose one more time. Keeping it nice and tight. We're contracting, we're making ourselves tiny. And on an exhale, we're gonna bring that left knee over to our right side, perhaps letting that knee rest on the floor and arcing over. At first, just breathing into our left palm, looking over our shoulder or looking up, whatever feels the best to your body. And here, if you'd like, we're gonna play around with straightening the left leg. I can't because there's a wall here. Well, I can move. That's closer. Either way, we're just breathing into the spinal twist. Allowing ourselves to lengthen a little bit more. Feeling our hips opening up, our lower back expanding. On an inhale, coming back to center very gently. We're hugging both of our shins in. Extending that right leg long. We're going to bring our left knee in one more time. Bringing that left knee over to our left armpit. And playing around with opening up the hip here. Taking on a half happy baby, grabbing the inside of the foot or the outside, if that feels good to you. But we're just warmly waking up here. We're still keeping that right leg a little bit active. Breathing into it, opening up the tops of our thighs, our hips, stretching that leg straight and bending it. And coming back to center. On an inhale, we're going to lift both of our feet, pressing our lower back into the floor. Feet are over our hips roughly. It's okay if our legs are bent a little bit. We're flexing our toes and just pointing the soles of our feet toward the sky above us. Staying here for a moment, letting gravity fall onto us. We're going to breathe here, noticing the slight fire that begins in our legs, pointing the toes, flexing the feet back. Bring your arms to cactus beside you. It just means the arms are open, elbows are at either side, and palms are at a 90-degree angle to your biceps. Like this, like what I'm doing. We're going to slowly lower the legs, watching them go. And at about a halfway point, we're going to start bending our knees and swooping the feet in. Inhale, straighten. And on the exhale, lowering. About halfway, when you feel yourself start to struggle, we're going to bend our knee and swoop our feet back in. Inhale, legs up. Exhale. One more time, inhale the legs up, engaging the stomach muscles, knitting them together as you lower your legs. And bring those knees in, letting the soles of the feet rest at either side of your hips. We're going to release our arms, letting the palms fall to either side of our bodies. We're going to tuck our shoulders in a little bit. We're just going to let our knees rock from side to side, windshield wipering the legs almost, lazily leaning onto our right and left side, just sort of massaging our hips against the floor. Opening the hip just a little bit more every time we rest on the right or left side. Just kind of letting our whole body move with that motion. On an exhale, finding your center. Staring straight up, hips are centered. We're going to plant the soles of our feet on either side of our hips. We're going to tuck our shoulders in just a little bit, so that our shoulders are a little bit further back, not hunched forward at all here. The back of our necks are long. Maybe our chin is just slightly tucked, allowing a little bit of elongation to happen back there. We're pressing the palms of our hands into the floor beside our hips. We're starting to press the soles of our feet into the ground. And right here, in this gentle, reassuring pose, we're just gonna, it's a very tiny movement. We're just gonna press with our stomach muscles, our lower back into the floor a little more. Right by our tailbone, there's a little bit of a curve happening. And we're just powerfully, mindfully trying to move that curve toward the floor. Pressing our stomach toward the floor. And then on the exhale, releasing and finding some relaxation. So inhale, pressing, engaging, and on the exhale, not coming quite back to square one, but relaxing, finding the stillness. I'm going to do that one more time, just a sort of baby bridge. So, okay, we're Inhaling, and we're pressing ourselves against the floor, pressing our sides, our stomach against the floor, pressing our palms, our feet. And exhale, relaxing. It's funny I mentioned bridge because actually we are going to do a bridge, but we're not going to hold it. We're just going to move along with our breath. We're waking our body up here. So we're finding the four corners of our feet, the balls of our feet, and imagining two corners at our heels. We're pressing evenly into our feet, lifting those arches, finding total stability there. We're pressing our palms into the earth, allowing that to open our shoulders back just a little bit more. And on an exhale, we're going to press our stomach into the floor, then start to lift our hips up. I lied, actually. Upon lifting, we're going to inhale. I think that feels better. Inhale up, lifting those hips, pressing into the soles of the feet, and exhale. Rolling back down onto your spine, finding that relaxation again. So inhale, pressing your stomach in enough to start lifting your tailbone and hips. And on the exhale, mindfully placing your spine bit by bit back on the ground, curving back. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale. Make it nice and good. Open up the tops of your legs, your hips. And on the exhale, slowly, gradually, lovingly lowering to the floor. Relaxing that lower back part. We're going to windshield wiper the legs to either side of our mat. And then we're going to look up toward our thighs, grabbing the insides of them. We're going to lift our feet up. Starting to rock ourselves by kind of kicking into our legs a little bit. Just kicking them forward, making this a momentum-based thing. We're just rocking and rolling here, rolling our spine on the ground, keeping it gentle, just allowing a little bit of gravity and the hardness of the floor to give our spine a little bit of relief, a little bit of massage. And when you're ready, cross your ankles and just come to a seated position upon your mat. We're going to bring mindfully the soles of our feet together. Coming into a baby butterfly pose. Our knees are on either side of the mat. Our hips are open. The soles of our feet are pressing into each other. And our spines are pretty tall. We are focusing on trying to stack our spine, rolling our shoulders back, and lifting the crown of our heads, engaging our stomach and feeling comfortable in this position where your knees aren't quite totally relaxed. They can't relax totally. You might want to move your feet closer to you. You might want to move them farther away. I would suggest you experiment here so you find a really good point for you and your body just right now. Don't overthink it. Wherever you are, let all of your breath out. And together, right now, we're going to start to slowly inhale into this pose. Perhaps we're pressing into our shins a little bit or our knees to allow a little bit more lift to our spine. We're going to hold at the top of the inhale and exhale. Close your eyes. Come to the moment. Notice your breath. Press your feet into each other. Let all of it out again. We're going to take one inhale and rise our hands up toward the sky. Reaching up and exhale. Stretching forward, whatever that means for right now. We're just keeping it light, keeping it warm. We're folding at our hips. We're still pressing our feet into each other. We're keeping that connection active. Trying to open up our knees a little bit more. We're stretching forward. We're awake. Our eyes are open. We're trying to make a little bit of momentum, create a little bit of activity here. Try to make this an active stretch forward. And then, very tenderly, we're just going to walk our fingertips in. We're going to start to stretch only our right leg straight out at 45 in front of us. Our left leg is conveniently still bent. We're going to move that whole leg over, pressing the sole of the left foot into the inside of our right thigh, preparing for a side stretch. So at first you might want to just shift your hips and shoulders so that you're kind of facing the leg, just for a little bit of a hamstring stretch here. But what I really want to focus on here is grabbing the inside of the foot for a little bit of a side stretch. Your knee might be bent just a little bit. You might just be at your shin or at your ankle. But we're just going to be on the inside of our legs here, stretching our right side body while contracting it a little bit so that we can beautifully arc our left arm up and over to the side, swiveling those shoulders open, breathing into our ribs, and stretching our side bodies, smiling up at the ceiling, stretching our fingers apart, stretching our toes apart, noticing all the limbs of our body here, noticing the sole of your left foot pressing into your leg. On an inhale, moving back up, we're going to plant our left palm behind us, kind of still on that 45-degree angle. And we're going to, you can stay here, just kind of breathing into this pose, or you can play a little bit with this sort of wild thing pose. Okay, so hear me out. We're pressing into our left palm, and we're going to shift ourselves onto our left knee, rolling onto the sole of our right foot. Our weight is kind of on our left knee here, though, and our left arm. So we're coming up to a sort of tabletop, all right? And we're just opening up the hip. We're straightening this right leg, and we're stretching up and toward the ceiling. Stretching those hips open, breathing into the hips and letting our top half just drape over. Just a little bit. Breathing into this lovely stretch. Your body's just a sort of lazy rainbow right now. Imagine it's extending from tips of your right fingers to your right toes. And exhaling back to the ground. Shaking it out. Coming back to center. We're going to move to the other side. First coming to a baby butterfly. Feeling a little more confident here, pressing our feet together, a little more energetic. We're lifting the crown of our head up. We're finding some peace in this pose again. Inhale. Find that centering point in this pose. Exhale. Open your eyes. Straighten your left leg at a 45-degree angle. And just scoot the sole of your right foot to your inner thigh. At first, shifting your shoulders over your hips, stretching over your leg if that feels good. Just for a moment, kind of open up the hamstring. And then settling into this lovely side stretch where we're grabbing inside of our calf, our ankle, or our foot. At first, just settling here, preparing, pressing into our leg wherever we're at. And then on an inhale, rocking that right arm up and over, really reaching for the sky, and then reaching for our foot, leaning Stacking the shoulders, trying to keep both hips firmly planted on the ground. We're still letting that right knee be a little bit heavy here. We're just reaching for the sides, spinning our ribs open more. Feeling stable. Deepening our breath. And on an exhale, arcing up and planting that right palm on that 45. Pressing into our right knee so that our hips start to lift. And we're rocking onto our right knee. And then opening our left hip, left side body up and over. Just peeling over, kind of draping over yourself here. We're going to point our left toe, flex it a little bit. And we're just focusing on this lovely kind of banana stretch our whole body is making. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, gracefully just start to relax, letting your body go, settling back on the floor. From here, our feet are planted at hip distance apart. We're feeling pretty loosey-goosey, pretty nice. We're rolling our shoulders back. We're going to start to lift our feet and come into a boat pose, just briefly, in order to find our center point here. Just a bit of a balanced pose. You can straighten your legs totally, or you can just let your shins be parallel to the floor, or maybe not even that. Maybe we're just lifting our feet. But we're rolling our shoulders back and we're leaning on a 45 just a little bit. Just enough so that you can feel your body start to get a little bit off balance here. Find your own edge and breathe there. Inhaling, finding that stability. Exhaling, solidifying yourself wherever you're at. Inhale, exhale. One more inhale. Exhale. Come out of it, cross your ankles, and rock yourself onto your knees. We are coming to tabletop pose. Our hands are underneath our shoulders. Our knees are underneath our hips. Our fingers are spread. We're pressing the tops of our feet into the mat. And we're pressing against the mat, trying to engage our limbs so totally that our back is totally straight, totally flat. That's a bit of a struggle for me, for sure. Staring straight at the mat. Imagine the tailbone and the crown of your head are being pulled apart. And the rest of your body is totally geared into just keeping you right exactly where you are on this string path. Inhale. Pressing the sides of your fingers into the mat. Exhale. Relax a little bit into this pose. Inhale, pressing against the mat, finding your perfect tabletop for right now. And exhale, relax a little bit. Still pressing the sides of your fingers so that your wrists are a little bit relieved. Imagine your hands have a sort of arch in the middle of your palms. Just creating a little bit of tension to relieve those wrists. On an inhale, we'll move to cow, dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone, the head. Rocking from side to side, looking over the shoulders. Just opening up the body, letting it be gentle and warm and explorative. You're looking under and over your shoulders. Maybe you're rocking forward and backward. But we're just exploring and playing around with this lovely, simple pose. rocking from side to side. On an exhale, begin to arch the other way into cat. Pressing your shins against the floor, letting your head fall. We're just going to breathe into our backsides. Rocking front and back. Rocking from left to right. Still pressing our shins into the floor, our hands into the floor. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Opening up the throat. Exhale, cat. And back to our neutral tabletop. Pressing into the earth. We're going to press the top of our left foot, pressing that shin evenly, pressing our hands evenly, and feeling so energetic, we can just lightly lift our right leg behind us. At first, just rolling the ankle a little bit, opening up the leg. We're going to inhale our toes and the crown of our head apart. So we're just a straight, beautiful line. And on an exhale, we're going to fire hydrant our knee over to the side of our body, moving our knee as we bend our leg in a circular motion before stabbing that leg back, straightening out. And preparing to do it again. Inhale, fire hydrant the knee over to the right side of your mat, opening up the hips. Exhale, kicking it back. One more time. We're going to open that knee just a little bit more, really engaging our side muscles into this. Exhale, stretching back again. And then coming back to our tabletop, letting everything go. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Back to a neutral tabletop. We're pressing our palms evenly. We are prepared. Our shoulders are over our wrists. We're totally engaged. Pressing onto our right leg enough that we can lift our left leg out behind us. And it's light and free. We're pointing the toe and extending for a moment, just totally straightening, keeping the hips pretty level. On an exhale, bending that knee, bringing the knee over to our left elbow almost in a hydrant. Exhale. Just moving with your breath here. Inhale, hydrant over to the side. Exhale, shooting back, still pressing the hands evenly. Inhale. And exhale, kick back, pressing your palms, making this totally active so that when you move back to a neutral tabletop, it feels sort of delicious. Inhale, cow. Stretching the stomach apart. On an exhale, cat. We're going to walk our hands in front of us and move into a brief puppy pose, allowing our hips to be over our knees. We're just going to find our own stopping point, stretching the hands in front of us and allowing the forehead to rest on the floor. This is like downward dog, but a puppy because we're on our knees. And we're rocking left and right. Just opening up the shoulders here, opening up the chest. Breathing into the backs of our necks, letting our forehead rest for a moment, letting our arms rest. Just letting those hips rise a little higher. Delighting in this pose. Gently pressing ourselves up. We're going to come to our forearms. You can bring the hands together, or you can let the palms rest in front of our elbows. We're going to, still on our knees, shift our shoulders over our elbows and prepare to move to a very brief, don't worry, forearm plank. So If you want to clasp your hands for a little bit of extra stability here, do that. We're looking at our feet behind us, and we're very mindfully tucking those toes, planting those legs, and shifting the shoulders over the elbows. Keeping those hips high, keeping those knees lifted. Imagine the backs of your knees are straightening just a little bit more. We're rolling our shoulders back, pressing our palms or just our forearms into the floor, lifting ourselves up. We're straight as an arrow. We're going to inhale into this pose completely strong, straight. Inhale, hold at the top, and when you're ready, on the exhale, slowly lower to the ground. Letting your elbows go from side to side, resting your chin for a moment. We're going to rock those heels from side to side. Just kind of relieve the lower back a little bit. We're resting our right or left side of the face against the floor. Finding a gentle recuperative moment here. Before zipping the legs together, gently pressing the tops of the feet against the ground. Bringing our arms to either side of our body. Oh shoot, I forgot. No. We're going to plant our palms underneath our shoulders, actually. Either way, we're still a little bit restful. Our heads are still on the floor. We're just preparing here. We're going to make this mindful. So our hands are underneath our shoulders. Barely any weight in them. We could lift them if we wanted. But you might want a little bit of stability. We're rolling those shoulders back, melting the shoulder blades along our backside. Coming to our chin so we can focus on the pose a little more, start to activate. We're rolling the shoulders back. We're keeping weight out of our palms. We're pressing into the tops of our feet. We're on our chin. On an inhale, we're going to come into Cobra, where we're pressing into our feet and our legs enough that we can just lift our top half just a little bit. Staring at the mat below us. Engaging our stomach muscles, engaging our leg muscles. Lifting our bodies. Take one beautiful long inhale here. Inching those elbows back along your side body. And exhale, release. Winging those elbows out a little bit. You're going to rock those ankles from side to side. And by ankles, I mean heels, but our ankles are rocking too. We're releasing. We're going to rest the other side of our head against the floor. Preparing for round number 2. Finding a centering place. Before letting those arms rest, or why do I always do that? Jeez. We're going to plant our palms underneath our shoulders. We're going to mindfully press our legs together just a little bit. Pressing the tops of our feet into the floor. Rolling the shoulders back, coming to our chin. We are feeling really engaged here. And on an inhale, lift your body up, Cobra Pose. Bringing those elbows into your center. You can float the hands. You can let those fingertips just rest just a little bit. We're looking at the floor. We're communicating with our body. And exhale. Coming back down. Bending our legs this time, letting the feet rock from side to side. When you're ready, knitting those legs together again. Coming to your chin. This time, we are going to stretch our arms out to our side body. Along our side body. Resting for a moment. Just letting yourself be peaceful here. where nothing is happening. You're just communicating with your body. You're just breathing. And with your eyes closed, start to prepare for this. So it's much the same to Cobra. We're preparing for Locust here, though. A little bit more energetic. So let's prepare a little bit more. We're pressing the tops of our feet into the floor. Our legs are engaged enough that our knees are lifting a little bit. We're again resting our face, or resting our head on our chin. We're rolling the shoulders back. But this time our arms are alongside ourselves. And you can still sense that you don't have to put any weight into your arms at all. In fact, as you roll your shoulders back, your arms can just lift. And they can get a lot of height too. It's almost as though if you lift your hands up, they can kind of lift those shoulders a little bit further back. So we're rocking those shoulders back. We're pressing into the tops of our feet. And we're just going to let our hands do the work. Fingertips reaching, shoulders rolling back. We're just reaching back toward the back of our mats, lifting our chest up again. Lifting our top half as high as we might. Not looking forward so much as at the mat so that there's some space happening for our neck. And we're just letting those fingertips shoot back. On an inhale, we're going to start to point our toes enough that perhaps we can start to lift our feet. And we're lifting our legs, we're lifting our kneecaps, we're totally engaged. Exhale, relax down. Resting your head to the floor. Letting everything go. We're going to do that one more time. We're pressing into the tops of our feet, rolling our shoulders back. We know the drill at this point. Our arms are on either side of us. We're preparing. Exhale everything out. Inhale, lift those limbs. Stretching those fingers back, stretching the toes back, opening up completely. We are lifting a little bit more with every breath, reaching toward the back of our mats, curling up and over. Exhale. Bringing those hands back down. We're pressing. We're planting our hands underneath our shoulders and pressing ourselves back up into puppy pose, letting those hips rest above our knees and walking those palms out further. Letting our heads rest on the floor and our hips rise up toward the sky. Breathing into this lovely, lovely stretch. Before gently coming back to a tabletop position. Our hands are underneath our shoulders. Our knees are underneath our hips. We're pressing into the mat. Here we're going to play a little bit more with fire hydrant. We're going to press into our hands, press into our right shin, and lift our left leg. Inhaling it back, just straightening the leg. And on the exhale, opening up that hip and bringing the knee over to our left side. And you might want to just stay here, playing around with this balanced pose, opening up the hip here. But if you want to take it a little bit further, you can start to arc. We're going to come into a kneeling half moon pose. So right here in fire hydrant, we're going to come up to our left fingertips, rising up. And we're going to start to stack the hips on top of each other, opening up the hips a little bit more and extending the leg. until we're in a sort of plus shape. Gradually lifting that left arm, pressing ourselves into our right shin, not cramping, just opening up, stretching open, shoulders over each other, hips over each other, constantly opening up. And on an exhale, coming back down. Actually, we're going to, from here, plant the sole of the left foot alongside, kind of on the same line as our right knee. We're going to shift our right shin perpendicular to where it was. We're preparing for gate pose. Might want to heel toe the feet out a little bit more, rising to our fingertips, and then rising up to this lovely hip stretch here. You can press into the sole of your foot, or you can open up your hips a little bit more by rocking onto your heel. Whatever is most comfortable to you, just so that your left foot and your right knee are in line with each other. We're going to inhale, opening up, stretching our arms up toward the sky. Exhale, leaning over our left side, breathing into our side body again. We're pressing our hips up and over, opening up the front of our bodies. We're reaching over, making this very active. Inhaling center. Exhale. Plant that right hand about where it would be for table. And just open up here. Reaching toward the front of your mat with your left arm. Breathing, stretching. Exhale. Come back to center. Moving through one round of cat and cow. Keeping your spine warm. We're going to repeat that on the other side. Pressing our palms into the floor, pressing the top of our left foot. We're going to shoot that right leg out. Inhaling it behind us. Exhale, open up that leg. And you can stay in fire hydrant here, or you can start to play with moving onto your right fingertips and starting to open up the hip, starting to stack the hip, and then coming up to your right fingertips enough that pressing into your shin evenly, you can start to open up into a sort of half moon, stretching that right leg out, not bending the leg, and making a sort of plus sign with your body. It's just to play with balance here. It might not look or feel very elegant, but that's why we're doing it. We're just testing ourselves here. It's okay if you look extremely silly, like me. When you're ready, looking back toward the back of your mats, we're going to plant that right foot behind us, keeping it in line with our knee, rising up onto our fingertips, just watching the magic happen. Twisting our left knee, our left shin, so it's perpendicular. Planting that, we're steady, we're good. And we're keeping our right foot kind of on that same plane with our knee. And slowly rising up, opening those hips. Shoulders are over our hips. We're breathing into this opening pose. Inhale your hands up, fingers stretching apart. Exhale, arc over that right leg. Allowing that reach to open up your left hip just a little bit more. Breathing, constantly opening up, pressing into the front of your body. And on the exhale, planting that left palm about where it would be for tabletop, and just reaching that right arm up, opening up that side body, breathing into the hip, and coming back to tabletop. Moving through one round of cat and cow. We're gonna plant our palms underneath our shoulders, tuck our toes at the back of the mat, move to plank for just one moment, our body straight as an arrow, and then hinge at the hips, moving into downward dog. It's a simple hinge movement. We're just here for a moment. So allow your head to hang heavy. Notice how your feet and hands feel pressing into the floor. Find a sense of peace and stillness here. Inhale, stretch that right leg behind you. Exhale, bend that right knee and plant that right knee right behind the right wrist. You can swivel that shin out, but don't do it to the point of pain. We're just coming into a half pigeon. You don't have to swivel your shin out at all. You can just keep that knee bent. But we're inching that left leg back a little bit before planting it. We're coming up to our fingertips. We're inhaling our chest up. And exhale, melt over this nice hip bend happening here. Coming to your forearms, stretching out completely. Or resting on your elbows. Just allowing gravity to melt your hips further toward the earth. Creating some space in between your thigh and your hip crease. Creating a little bit more of a gap, creating a little bit more heaviness in your hips. On an inhale, we're going to come up to our fingertips. Rocking our shoulders back. Looking up at the ceiling, allowing a bit of a back bend here. Before planting our hands, tucking our back leg. And gently unraveling enough that we can hinge back into downward dog. Letting the head drop, letting the hips rise, straightening one leg and then the other. We're gonna lift that left leg behind us. And on the exhale, bending it, planting that left knee behind the left wrist. Jeez. And slowly inching our right leg further behind us, preparing for half pigeon on the other side. Heel toeing the shin out if that feels good. We don't want to play too much with that knee rotation. But our hands are right in front of us, shoulder distance apart. We're coming to our fingertips. We're rolling the shoulders back. Inhale up, exhale melt. Allowing yourself to be very compact. Noticing all the little impulses you're getting here. Trying to be very, very intentional in this pose. Letting your hips be heavy. Try to engage that back leg just a little bit, just to further the hip stretch happening here. Trying to even the hips out, melt them to the same level. While creating a little bit of space in between the crease. Your shoulders are melting back a little bit. On an inhale, we'll come up to our fingertips and walk our torso up. Once more, adding a bit of a back bend, smiling a little bit. And then planting the hands about shoulder distance apart, tucking that back leg, the back toes, lifting the kneecap. Pulsing a little bit, just preparing. Before gently unraveling that leg and pressing ourselves back to downward facing dog. Plant those knees on either side of your mat. Bring the big toes to touch and press into your palms to send those hips back. Child's pose. Settling in. Once more, breathing into this hip stretch. allowing your body to melt, to relax. Find your stillness here. Find gratitude for being right here in this moment with your body. It's totally alive, totally grateful, appreciating the breath entering and exiting your body. Noticing the breath becomes softer. On an inhale, we're going to press ourselves back up and move into a seated position. Then inhale, arcing those arms up above our heads. And on an exhale, we're going to let those hands fall to our sides and then slowly move their way behind us. We're easing our torso down onto the floor. And from here, we're stretching our legs out. We're just going to let our body relax for a good minute. We're going to do nothing at all. Whatever pose you've taken here, allow yourself to settle into it. Inhaling intention. Exhale, relax a little bit more. Inhale, find that energy for being right here with yourself. Exhale, become a little more sleepy. Or just a little more calm. Noticing how your body rises and falls. Gaze soft. Our eyes closed. Feeling very gentle, feeling lovely. Forgive whatever thoughts cross your mind. Every exhale, letting those thoughts just drift a little more away from you. Just like clouds passing overhead. They're there, but they're not a part of you. You're something else. Just breathing and being here. Exhale everything out. Take a deep inhale. Begin to twinkle the fingers and toes. Holding that inhale. Holding the exhale. Take a deeper inhale. Roll the wrists. Roll the ankles. Exhale. Still rolling. Still animating. Holding at the end. On the deep inhale, take a full body stretch. And exhale, hug yourself into a little bowl. Rocking left and right. And then, of your choosing, rock to the right or left side. Letting your knees fall gently. Extending your bottom arms so that your head can rest on your bicep. Allow your body to settle in the fetal position just for a moment. Appreciating all that you've done. Thanking yourself for engaging this. And then inhale. We're going to press into our palm and lift ourselves up. Once again, finding a comfortable seated position. On an inhale, we're going to shine those hands up toward the sky. And on an exhale, we're going to bring those palms to heart center. Elbows on either side of us, palms pressing against each other, shoulders rolled back. We're feeling centered. We're feeling clear. I'm going to rub those palms together, creating a little bit of energy together, creating a little bit of buzz. And on the exhale, letting those hands go apart, stop that movement and just feel those vibrations in between your palms. Smile, experience them, and clasp your hands together lovingly, bringing them to heart center again. I thank you for sharing your practice with me. I hope you got something out of it. Either way, I truly hope that you have a lovely evening. And I wish you a safe evening, a safe week. Namaste. Thank you very, very much for doing some yoga with me. Just wanted to keep it a little bit low key because everything seems a little bit more intimidating these days, you know? So I don't know if I have any announcements, but please let me know if you want to see any sort of poses or try out any sort of intentions. Totally open to any kind of comment or critique. AdRock has this wonderful A Night Out In event happening every Friday night. If you have any kind of talent, any kind of inclination that might get someone up and moving and just engaged somehow in this weird time, please check out the website and sign up for a night so you can engage in this wonderful community and share your talents with us. Because we all need a little more sunshine and a little more distraction in this time of great uncertainty. I think that's all I have to say for right now. So have a great Friday and keep it safe and happy and good and mindful.